So this particular verse, Mark 9:24, is another example of a mistranslation. Another example when the Greek verb pisteo, which should have been translated give faith, give allegiance, was cynically translated believe. All right, so I'm going to, just for a quick review, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, this particular word group. Only take a minute, but I need to show it to you again. Stand by. Okay, so if you watched any of my recent series, the three-part series, Sola, FideLITY, I talked about the pistis word family. Several verbs that come from the pistis root words, like pisteo, 4100 through 4104. Okay, we're talking about the verb pisteo, which is routinely and reflexively translated to believe and trust. It's been documented that verb could also be translated give faith to, give allegiance to. Scholars have documented that. Josephus, the Jewish historian, writing about the Jewish war from 66 AD, talks about giving faith. He was a Jewish general, and he asked someone to give faith to him using the same verb, pisteo. Okay, he asked a rebel leader to give faith to him. Not talking about forgiveness of sins. It's talking about giving allegiance. So this verb pisteo, which routinely gets translated belief, believed, any of the cognates, okay? This verb here has a larger semantic domain than you've been taught to believe. Our Protestant translators wanted you to think that could only be translated believe. No, it could also be translated give allegiance. And because it wasn't, there is massive confusion that exists to this very day. Just quickly to show you the rest of the pistis word group that I've been talking about, 4100 to 4104. Okay, there's pistikos, an adjective which only occurs twice in the New Testament. It's talking about trustworthy. It's not talking about belief. Pistikos, it's very close to pisteo. Again, it all comes from the noun. The next one is the noun, pistis. And this word gets translated faith all over the New Testament. We routinely think it's talking about belief. We've been trained to think it's talking about belief. No. As you see down here with the usage and the definition, let me just highlight this here. The definition of pistis is faith and faithfulness. It is a translator's choice. But even if you go with faith, faith in English also means allegiance. It's not talking about merely belief. It's talking about fidelity. All right. You go quickly through this. 4103, pistos. Again, look at the definition here. Faithful, reliable. Pistos. Look how it's used in Matthew 25:21. And faithful servant. Good and faithful servant. Again, this word is the brother of pistis and pisteo. Lastly, we have pistu, to make trustworthy, to establish. This is a verb too. All right, there's only one occurrence of it in the New Testament, and that's in 2 Timothy 3:14. So the main verb is pisteo, all right, which, as I say, can mean give allegiance. It all depends on the context. It is a translator's choice. But who were the translators that we had in the 1500s? They were rebels, Protestants who were breaking away from the Roman Catholic Church. So if you can you have the choice between rendering something belief or give allegiance, believe or give faith. Which one do you think this rebel is going to choose? Obviously, it's not going to be give allegiance. All right, so let me show you how this works in Mark 9:17 through 25, the story of Jesus healing the epileptic. All right, I'm going to show you why you don't understand Mark 9:24. Lord, I believe, help me with my unbelief. Stand by. All right, so this is the story of the healing of the epileptic, the deliverance of the epileptic. If epilepsy is what the child was suffering from, actually, he was suffering from a demon. And the father of this son brings his child to the disciples of Jesus, but they can't heal him. And then finally, he will ask Jesus to do it. This story appears in all three synoptics, Matthew, Luke, here in Mark too. But here in Mark, we have that peculiar wording in 9:24, where the father says, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. So I want to show you why when you play fast and loose with translations, when you're translating with an agenda, you end up with absurdities like, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. Let's go through it. Okay. And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which hath a dumb spirit. And wheresoever he taketh him, he teareth him, and he foameth, and gnasheth with his teeth, and pineth away. And I spake to thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. Jesus answereth him, and saith, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto me. Observe in verse 19, O faithless generation. Apistos. When you put the A in front of the Greek word, or in many cases even an English word, you are negating it. So apistos is faithless, just like agnosis would be agnostic or atheist. Okay, you put the A there, you negate what comes after it. In this case, no faith, apistos. Verse 20, and they brought him unto him. And when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming. Down to 21. And he asked his father, how long is it ago since this came unto him? And he said, of a child. And oft times they have cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Okay. So Jesus said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Now here in verse 23 is where the King James translators are playing fast and loose with the translation. I don't know if this phone for it interrupts me. Verse 23, Jesus said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Well, that first clause that Jesus says, if thou canst believe, believe isn't there. They added believe to the text. Believe, the word believe is not there. It says literally, if you are able, all things are possible to him that believeth. But this verb, G4100, like I said, it was a translator's choice whether to go with believe or give faith. Now, if you're saying, if you're going to go with believe here, my question to you is, believe what? He hasn't done anything to save anyone's sins yet. Are you asking to believe that he's a miracle worker? Well, obviously he does believe that he's a miracle worker. He wouldn't have brought his son to him. So what are we talking about believe here? Believe what exactly? No, it's talking about give faith, give allegiance to the Son of God, to the new Messiah. Verse 24. And here's the confusing one, right? And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe. And same verb, pisteo. Help thou mine unbelief, apistia. Look at this, apistia. Go back up to verse 19. You see apistia in verse 24? Help thou mine unbelief. They translated apistia as unbelief. Remember what we said about putting an A in front of it? You negate what comes after it. Go back to verse 19. Look how close, apistos. And it's translated faithless, even in the KJV. Apistos, faithless. 924, apistia. G570, it's the very next word in the lexicon, apistia. How is this unbelief over here? And in verse 19, it's faithless. Help thou mine unbelief. Let's say I finish the story. When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, Thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him and enter no more into him. And the child was healed. But again, look at verse 24. Help thou mine unbelief. The reason you have never been able to understand this verse, Mark 9:24, is because this is mistranslated. This father, again, is talking about when he says, I believe, he's saying, I am faithful. I am faithful to you, Lord. He's calling him master. I am faithful. I'm a servant. I'm giving you my allegiance. Help thou mine unbelief. He's talking about the unfaithfulness of that generation, of that crowd who would not believe, who would not give him faith, who had been unfaithful to his father, God. This word, this verb translated help, literally means rescue or relieve. So it's better translated relieve you. You relieve me of mine problem of unfaithfulness with this community. I'm faithful. Don't hold it against me because my community is unfaithful. Help thou mine unbelief, my unbelieving community. Lord, I believe, though. I am faithful to you. I am loyal to you. Help you. Please disregard the unfaithfulness that you see around you, the unfaithfulness that you're complaining about in verse 19. Let's go up again here. Jesus answers him and said, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I put up with you? The father of the boy has just heard Jesus say, why am I even bothering to put up with you people? Why am I tolerating this? You're faithless. You have no commitment to me or my father. The father here, this demon-possessed boy, is saying, I'm faithful. Disregard the faithlessness of my community. Once you understand it like that, there is no contradiction. Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. But again, the Protestant translators, they had a different agenda. Once again, if you want to tell me that the KJV and the other Protestant translations that have followed were correct to translate that belief instead of giving faith, you have to answer the question, believe what? He hasn't gone to the cross yet. He hasn't paid for anyone's sins yet. What are you saying that, what is he being asked to believe? No, he's being asked to give faith to Jesus, the Son of God, the Messiah, who's going to restore the Davidic kingdom. Again, the people who put this into the vernaculars of Europe were in full-fledged rebellion of the political and religious authorities of their day. Giving faith or allegiance to a religious authority was not a message they wanted to drive home. And now, 500 years later, we have confusing texts like Mark 9:24. Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. No, no. Lord, I am faithful to you. Please disregard the unfaithfulness of this community, the faithless generation that you just complained about, and rightly so. And because he did demonstrate publicly his faith to Jesus, his son was healed. All right, look forward to your comments if you have any. Enjoy your night.